Hi, Dr. Paul Haider here. You know, how do you bake the cake of a great life? Yesterday I made a breadfruit banana upside down cake. Really came out great. And one of the things that you need for a cake is the main ingredient, which is the flour, and I was using breadfruit flour, and it's totally gluten free, and it has a great flavor. If you use something which is bitter, it's going to end up causing a terrible taste, and that'll be left in a person's mouth for a long, long time. So if we keep adding things in our life, such as the bitterness we feel deep down inside, or the anger we have, and the resentment towards somebody, we end up, having our life come out really bitter in the end. And so it's really important that we add that uh, most important ingredient. And the base of that cake is love. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Truth, love, they're synonymous with God and Great Spirit, that which is eternal, that which is the vibratory connection of all things in the universe. Absolutely everything. I know Sababa said, you know, I'm God, you're God, and everything in between us is God. So how can there not be this vibratory essence that is going on? And now science has shown that every single thing, like me, I have a constant waveform going on. And this piece of clothing I have, it has a constant waveform going on. And so it's important that we keep the constant filled with love. And if we don't, we end up spoiling the cake, which is our life. And there's a man right now who is dying of cancer. And I've tried to help him, but he's not interested in anything alternative. So eventually he has succumbed to that cancer, and he's gotten to the point where he can't hold any food down anymore. And so it will be a short time. And then there's other members in his family that have not talked to him in years. And then the wife is, she's overcome with grief, and she's contacted some of these other family members, and they won't talk back. And so it's not the wife that's holding on to the resentment, and she's really, full of tears and sadness that her husband's going to pass away, and he's in his early 60s, and he's still a young man in my estimation, and he could have a full life, but this is what we have now. But the other people are holding on to this resentment, and they have mixed their life in with that bitter batter. And so all these other people also, their lives have not run very well. They've always had terrible things happen to them. And it's because the underlying foundation of what they have is full of this anger, full of this bitterness, full of this resentment that they keep there forever. That's why it's always said in all the spiritual texts, forgive, forget, move on. And that actually takes the batter and removes the bitterness. Even if the foundation has already been baked. And the bitterness is pulled out. And then we can start building a cake which is very sweet. And from there, you'll have to have some leavening agents like baking powder and a little bit of salt and, a sweetener. I usually use stevia. And the sweetness of life is also love. And when we love others with unconditionally, to see them as they are and love them even though they have all this bitterness in them, that's true love. And to see them and then say, I can give them the opportunity to love, but I can't make them love. And I can give this opportunity to everyone I meet. I do that. How do I do that? And how do we do that? Is to love them so they can love in return. And when we go out and spread that love, when we go out and allow that love to return to us naturally or not, no matter what, we have given out a vibration, a true scientific entity that we know is real because it is a vibration of standing waveform which goes out into the universe and it never ever stops. It just permeates the universe itself. And we have this scientific evidence now that this is exactly what Jesus was talking about when he was dying on the cross, forgive them for they know not what they do. Divine Mother, that's what she is all about, is permeating that essence of love out there. I remember one time a man that had nothing and he had these big sores on his legs and they were just oozing pus from them and dripping, and he came up to her and she was doing darshan or blessing people, and he put his head on her lap and she held him, and she actually took her finger and put it on his leg and put it on her tongue, and she said, "You are not tainted. I love you." And then that's true unconditional love. To love somebody even though most people were shunning this man, they wouldn't even get close to him. And she was there embracing him no matter what. And when we grow to that stage of understanding that love is the only answer to this world. Love is the only answer to healing all the problems that we have around us. And violence is never going to end until we do that. But we have more people right now stressed out in the world. The World Health Organization just said the other day that 1 out of 4 people have some kind of mental illness going on. And that used to be years ago 1 out of 100 and then 1 out of 20, and now it's gotten to 1 out of 4. That means that out of every 4 people somebody has some kind of mental challenge going on, and that's because of all the stress we have going on in life. But if we were to reach out and love people, reach out and care for people, reach out and give of our own livelihood, not only in money but also in caring and compassion and what some people would call forbearance. That means going and doing what is right and truth without expecting anything in return. And even though you know that somebody might even turn around and turn it into something bad against you, that is true love, unconditional love. A lady came to me the other day and said, "Why should I love anybody? They're only mean to me." Well, we have this huge backlog of karma. And every time we do something mean against somebody else, we actually gain more karma. We have this big tote sack of karma we carry around with us. And why do we want to make it heavier? The best thing to do is take stuff out of that bag and get rid of it by doing loving, caring, giving things that we can do in our life. And to allow ourselves to know that every time we do something mean and angry, it actually goes out in the universe and then it reverberates back to us 1,000 times fold. And you wonder why this family is always having these negative things happen to them. Well, that's exactly why. Because the universe responds. It has to. It is one of the laws that's there. So it's important for us also to see that being loving and kind will bring great things coming our way eventually. But first of all, we got to clear up our karma. And another thing to do is to say the name of God over and over and over again. This allows us to clear up our karma. It also allows us to heal all that bitterness inside. And so eventually we can rid ourselves of that bitterness so the cake of life becomes sweet. And because every time the powerful name of God, whatever it be, Jesus or Buddha, Krishna, or any other name, there's thousands of names of God, and it's all the same God, all one. It's all that one vibration, and science knows this to be true now. Science and what we used to call metaphysics and the spiritual are all coming together now, and we're understanding that this world, this universe responds in like kind to whatever we put out into it. So it's important that we create this cake of life with all the sweets that we can, to have truth at all times, to have love at all times. Sometimes you're going to say it's hard to be truthful sometimes, you know what I mean? But there are ways to say that what is truthful without being hurtful also. And that takes a little more thought, because most people, as soon as they have something come to their mind, it comes blurting out. No filter. I know you know people like that. So it's important that we allow ourselves to have wisdom to think about what we're going to say. A lot of the great avatars, Lao Tzu, one of the greatest, I feel. I'm sure he was a man who was of very few words, but the words were profound, and that's because he thought about them before he actually put them out there. And every spiritual text talks about the fact that we should hold thy tongue because it is sharp and it is bitter, and we can hurt. And then those words, once they're put out there, they sting forever, and they really can't get rid of that once we put it out there. So it's to say a little and listen a lot. And sometimes people, that's all they need, is to have somebody listen to them. In fact, I can remember one particular person, he didn't get along with his in-laws at all. And they were always getting into the big rows, And so he decided, no, I'm going to take and start listening more. Start, don't talk as much as I used to, because that's really not working. So he started listening to them and asking them questions, and if they asked him something, then he would speak. And you know what? They started getting along fine. A lot of times we have our preconditioned ideas that this is the way a world's got to work. Well, sorry, that's called a desire, and we keep wanting to do that. And Buddha talked about that a lot. We want the world to be this way. Well, the world isn't the way we want it. The world is the way it is. And when we accept that and allow ourselves to work with that, then we can allow ourselves to make a different world. But first of all, we have to accept what we have in order to bake a great cake of life. And then we can change the ingredients in that cake and add the truth, and add the love, and add the forbearance. And then we allow ourselves to see that the thousandfold ingredients come back to us for a great life. As always, if you'd like to get a hold of me, my consultations are free, and you can click show more, and you have my email address, and you have my phone number, in fact, and I'm here to help you in any way, shape, or form. And my Skype address is there also. And if you care to subscribe, I greatly appreciate that. And if you care to make a donation, the link is down below, and I always thank you in advance for that too. We live on Social Security and a small pension, so I greatly appreciate that. Anyway, have a wonderful, wonderful day, and remember, I love you.